Well, good morning, my friends. We are on day 4 of 31 Days of Monsters, and I can greet you this morning with a bright smile instead of abject embarrassment after yesterday's The Keep. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the 1933 classic, The Invisible Man. I hope you guys have seen this film. This one is one of Universal's best. I love this movie. There's a great sense of humor, there's a great sense of drama. Uh, Claude Rains, he's a little man. He couldn't have been more than 5'6". But what a presence! That voice of his. You never see his face too until the very, very end when the Invisible Man dies and he comes back visible again. And that's the only time you see Claude Rains, and that was his first American movie too. But he so steals the show with his wonderfully theatrical performance in this. It's almost needed. That kind of what they call acting for the back row. Great cast. There's a little cameos in here too. Walter Brennan has a. I shouldn't say cameo. It's the beginning of their careers, so nobody knew who they were. But Walter Brennan is in there. John Carradine. Carradine made a couple appearances. He was also in The Bride of Frankenstein, before he, went on to bigger roles like Stagecoach, and then Bluebeard and other such things. This movie still holds up. It was made in 1933, and the camera work, or I guess I should say special effects work by John P. Fulton are amazing. I marvel at it even today. Stuff like when Kemp is being dragged out of the car, or actually picked up and put back into the car by the Invisible Man. You don't see any like edging, like highlight edging, like where they couldn't get the masking right or something like that. When the Invisible Man unveils himself for the first time, he starts pulling the bandages off, and there's nothing there. This is the beginning of that like blue screen style of masking out forms and images. Only they didn't use that; they used black velvet. The actor Claude Rains would wear like a black velvet, mask over his face, and then they would use that in post production to mask out, everything that they wanted to disappear. But it still holds up incredibly well. There's been other Invisible Man movies that were made later on, Return of the Invisible Man, and what was that one where one of Griffin's ancestors was like a spy for the U.S. government? There was Invisible Woman. There was Invisible Agent. That's what it was. He was an agent for the Allies, and he'd get behind and fight the Nazis and stuff. Oh, wait a second. We got our first super sticker from Big Raj. Thank you, Big Raj, for that Canadian $1.99. Much appreciated. Let's see, what else I want to talk about in this. Oh, it's interesting because the Invisible Man, mark this down, the Invisible Man has the most on-screen deaths, most on-screen kills of any Universal monster. You could say, that Dracula had more kills because he'd been around for hundreds of years, and he's killing people all over the world. But you never see that. In Dracula, what do we see? Lucy, or no, Mina. Maybe the flower girl, maybe 2, something like that. Frankenstein monster, he kills I don't know, maybe 6, 10, something like that. The Invisible Man kills 122 people actually on screen, and you could almost say 124 because he throws these 2 guys over a rail in what looks like, a death fall. Uh, so I'm going to bump him up to 124 kills. Uh, but I think that's really interesting. You think of maybe, the Mummy or Dracula or one of these characters, but it's the Invisible Man, because he gets out of the gate strong when he derails a train and 120 people get killed on the train. One of my favorite scenes is when Claude Rains, he mellows out a little bit because he gets to see his love Flora for the first time since he's injected this stuff that's turned him nuts. And he's sitting there and he's explaining to her, how much, stronger he feels and better he feels. And he starts ramping it up and he starts losing his shit, And he says, and someday the Invisible Man will rule the world, And he's like, he's getting all hyped up and everything. It's so great. And she's looking at him like, there's something in the it's not Lanacaine. I forget what the name of the phony baloney drug was. Something cane. I'm beginning to think it was cocaine by the way he was acting, but just a fantastic movie. And you guys, if you haven't seen it, you're going to love it. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about another classic, the first Werewolf out of the gate from Universal. And Jack Pierce did the makeup effects for it, too. This is the Werewolf of London, starring Henry Hull. A little bit different than the Wolf Man. He's sort of more man than Larry Talbot. In fact, he's quite a well-dressed werewolf. But it's a good and interesting film, and wonderful, wonderful makeup. So that'll be on the docket for tomorrow. Another goodie. Let's see who's here. Dr. Mask is here. JP Roca is here. Hyper Kaiju. Hello, hello. Rob Fellows says ghastly greetings, Graham Nolan and Monster Kids. Look, he's all eaten away. How'd you like my Cockney accent? That's pretty good, right? Marcus Kelgrew is getting ready for work. Excellent. JDC, Dr. Cranley was also Clarence the Angel in It's a Wonderful Life. Henry Travers. Yes, that's right. Skull Nasher says Invisible Woman. Yeah, I think I mentioned that one. Oh, yeah. I agree. Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man is a real stinker. In fact, I don't like any of the Abbott and Costello Meet films after Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, with the exception of the second one, Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, Boris Karloff. Boris Karloff is not the killer. He's not in it that much either. But that's a fun little mystery hotel, little almost haunted house type thing, but it's in a hotel, and there's some great bits in it, great gags between Lou and what's that actor's name? He plays the cop, Irish guy. He's been in a million things. I can't remember his name. Levin? No. I have the hardest time remembering his name. Anyway, great stuff. Chris Juliano is here. Hello, Chris, the normie nerd. Una O'Connor does steal the show in this. She's a notorious scene stealer. She does her over-the-top bits in Bride of Frankenstein, too. I like her better in this. A little bit more reserved, and her character is scripted in such a way her behavior makes sense. In Bride of Frankenstein, she just shows up in scenes like, well, how did she get there? Why is she there? It was very odd. I think I did Bride of Frankenstein last year. It was either last year or the year before. And as you know, I like it, but I don't have the reverence for it that a lot of critics have, saying, "Oh, it's the greatest sequel." This is apex. I think it's a hodgepodge of. There's some great stuff in there, but there's a hodgepodge of fantasy in there, rather than like the original Frankenstein was straight up horror, you know. And Boris never looked better than the first one, when he was a poor actor and couldn't put on weight, because he couldn't eat eat a lot. He had a much more cadaverous look. Bill Dunleavy is here. Hello. And he says that Invisible Man is his favorite Universal film. It's right up there. Delaware comic dude. I read the book too. They're both great. Of course, based on H.G. Wells' classic novel. Oh, Scott Pickering says Shemp Howard of the Three Stooges starred in The Invisible Woman. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen The Invisible Woman. Abbott and Costello Go to Mars is pretty funny. And Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer is fun. I love those Abbott and Costello movies. The early ones, particularly, from 1940. 1940 to like 1944. I think those are the best. And then you get a break of some crappy ones, and then Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein turned it around for them. But that was it was like you're going like this, you go like that, and then you go boom and boom. The great Tom Tuttle says, "Hail Graham, this is the scariest monster I've ever seen." LOL. I love when you can see the Invisible Man. I love when he's wrapped up in those bandages with the rubber nose and the goggles and the tufts of hair sticking up. I think that looks so cool, so iconic, and somehow Claude Rains manages to just exude this imperiousness. He's always his chest is out, his head is up, and he's so great. And they shoot him from down below too, make him look taller. Rob says the Style B poster art for this is great by Karoli Grosh, who did a lot of the Universal Monster movies. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know who that artist was. He must have done the Mummy too, that beautifully colored Mummy poster. That's one of my favorites. Stat Zero is here. Good morning, Stat. Turn the page. Hi, Graham. Would make a video about Halloween comics. There was a Frankenstein series that I can't remember the name of the artist, but he's amazing. That would be Mike Plug, I would think, if you're talking about the Marvel version. And yeah, those early Marvel ones that Plug had done were great. I did do a show a couple of years ago about the Marvel monster comics. Talked about Werewolf by Night, Tomb of Dracula. And then I did one on DC's monster comics or horror comics as well. Ooh. My local theater does Monster Mondays in October and shows a different Universal movie every Monday. My wife and I got tickets this year for Frankenstein and the Wolfman. Oh, that's cool. I love when theaters do that, and it gives you the chance to see these classic films on the screen. And I think I mentioned to you guys yesterday that I'll be doing a presentation at one of our theaters here, the North Park Theater. And we're doing a double feature of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and The Thing from Another World. And I'm just over the moon. Can't wait to see those on the big screen and to talk about two of my all-time favorite movies. Saman Kircher, hello, Mr. Noel. I have a question. Are you aware of corporations stole over 5 billion images from artists and used it without their consent to feed and develop the AI that creates images? Nope, I am not aware of that. But somebody had recently posted that they did a search and that my name did not come up. I didn't know what that meant until right now. But thank you for letting us know. Have you seen Invisible Woman? It's like every movie with a female lead. I'll bet it's not like a Barbara Stanwyck movie. Back then, Hollywood knew how to make movies with female leads. Betty Davis, Barbara Stanwyck, Ginger Rogers, great, strong actresses in leads. Hold That Ghost. Did you like it, Graham? Oh, yeah, I liked Hold That Ghost. That's an early one. Again, haunted house type thing, but not really haunted. But yeah, there's some good bits in that too. Okay, I think I covered everybody here. Oh, nope. Oh, you're talking about Bernie Wrightson, the name of the Frankenstein comics. Oh yeah, it was the last project he did before he passed away, and they were pretty good. But if you really want to see Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein in his prime, you have to look for the novel that he illustrated. These are like Franklin Booth illustrations that Bernie, I think it took him 10 years to do. And these are freaking unbelievable. I think the double page spread that was the cover of it went for over $1 million recently. It's just I think it was the most ever for a black and white piece of art. It's just incredible. So look that one up. Okay, my friends, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in for 31 Days of Monsters. If you've backed the Ghost of Matacumba Key, thank you so much. We just hit 41,000. And let's see how many backers we got on that. 592. We're closing in on 600 backers in 2 days. That's an amazing, amazing run so far. We just got to keep it going and really, really hit this one out of the park. So thank you if you've backed it. If you have not, the link is in the description. Please take a look at it and see if this monster comic, this ghost story, appeals to you. I think it will, since you're tuning into my shows here about Halloween and stuff. So check that out. Hit the like button, subscribe to this station if you have not done so. And we will see you back here, the same bad time, same bad channel, tomorrow for the Werewolf of London. But before we go, we have to thank Manowar 665 Neighbor of the Beast for that $6.65 super chat. Congrats on the launch of Ghost Brother, and a big thank you for solid consistency, promptness, and excellent quality. Thank you, brother. Much appreciate your super chats and your support of my projects. I really, really do. Okay, so that'll wrap it up, gang. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Bye-bye.